आप सभी लोगों को मेरा नमस्कार। मैं डॉक्टर दीपक शर्मा, दिल्ली होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल एसोसिएशन का जनरल सेक्रेटरी आप सब
नमस्कार
लोगों
सर।
को बात करता हूँ। दिल्ली होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल एसोसिएशन के इस वेबिनार सीरीज में कोरोना वायरस की इस महामारी में जब लॉकडाउन हुआ तो हम सब लोगों के लिए कुछ नया करने का एक आगाज आया और हम लोगों ने अपने कुछ डीएचएमए के वेबिनार शुरू किए। दिल्ली होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल एसोसिएशन के बारे में आप लोगों को बता दूं जो लोग नए हैं। दिल्ली होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल एसोसिएशन 1932 में डॉक्टर युद्धवीर सिंह सर द्वारा बनाई गई थी। डॉक्टर युद्धवीर सिंह सर दिल्ली के पहले हेल्थ मिनिस्टर थे, जिन्होंने दिल्ली में नेहरू होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल कॉलेज और बहुत सारी होम्योपैथिक डिस्पेंसरीज का भी फाउंडेशन किया। दिल्ली होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल एसोसिएशन का जनरल सेक्रेटरी होने पर आज मुझे गर्व होता है और मुझे मौका मिला है कि आप सब लोगों को होम्योपैथी के बारे में और जानकारी दी जाए। हमने लगभग 28 से ज़्यादा वेबिनार कर चुके हैं। आज 29th वेबिनार है और ये वेबिनार बेसिकली एक 3 दिन की सीरीज थी जिसमें हमें डॉक्टर एनसी चटर्जी सर से एफोरिज्म 3 पढ़ना है। कल कुछ टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टीज की वजह से कुछ ही पूरा हो पाया है स्टार्टिंग के बाद। आज हम उसको पूरा करेंगे। मैं बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूँ डॉक्टर एनसी चटर्जी सर का। डॉक्टर एनसी चटर्जी एक ऐसे व्यक्ति हैं जो बहुत ही सौम्य हैं और मुझे लगता है बात करने में जितना अच्छा मुझे सर से लगा उतना शायद किसी भी सीनियर से नहीं लगता। इतने सौम्य है कि अगर मैं उनसे कभी भी फ़ोन करता हूँ बहुत अच्छे से बात करते हैं। हम मेरी एक रिक्वेस्ट पे इन्होंने एफोरिज्म 3 को पढ़ाने के लिए कहा और उन्होंने कहा कि मैं एक बार में नहीं पढ़ा पाऊँगा, थोड़ा टाइम चाहिए। डॉक्टर एस एन सी चटर्जी प्रोफेसर हैं, ना कभी रिटायर हुए हैं, ना कभी आगे होंगे। डायरेक्ट स्टूडेंट हैं डॉक्टर पी के सरकार के, जिनकी हम लोग ऑर्गेनाइज बुक पढ़ करके पास हुए हैं। तो ये हमारा सौभाग्य है कि डॉक्टर पी के सरकार जैसे डॉक्टर्स का अगर कोई डायरेक्ट स्टूडेंट हमें पढ़ाएगा तो हम सोचेंगे कि डॉक्टर पी के सरकार से ही पढ़ लें। 48 ईयर्स से ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस है सर का और मैं गुजारिश करूँगा कि सर क्योंकि हम कल भी काफ़ी आपको याद करते रहे, खैर टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टीज की वजह से ऐसा हो जाता है। आज हम सर से पढ़ेंगे एफोरिज्म नंबर 3 के बारे में। डॉक्टर एनसी चटर्जी सर। हेलो चटर्जी सर, आप सुन पा रहे हैं मुझे? जी सर।
सर अभी मैं फिर स्क्रीन शेयर करूं?
हाँ सर प्लीज, हम सब लोग बड़े बेताब हैं इस एफोरिज्म 3 को पढ़ने
हाँ,
के लिए।
ये इसमें तो आगे जो होस्ट डिसेबल्ड
सर एक
स्क्रीन
मिनट, सॉरी
शेयरिंग।
सॉरी सॉरी सर। जी सर हो गया, प्लीज।
ठीक।
इसी दौरान अगर आपको सर से कोई भी क्वेश्चन पूछना हो तो प्लीज हमें चैट में लिखते रहिएगा। जो भी क्वेश्चन आंसर का सेशन है वो हम कल वाले शो में करेंगे ताकि सब कुछ स्ट्रीमलाइन चलता रहे। पहले पढ़ लेते हैं, हो सकता है कि जो आपके क्वेश्चंस हों वो बीच में ही सॉल्व हो जाएं या कल सॉल्व हो जाएं। कल भी हम इसी टाइम इसी सेम आईडी पे मिलेंगे 9 बजे सर के साथ और एफोरिज्म सीरीज को कंटिन्यू करेंगे। सर प्लीज।
So, good afternoon to all of you. We are in aphorism 3 now.
जी सर।
I understand that this aphorism 3 is the most important aphorism in organon. whole of organ revolves around aphorism 3. Aphorism 1 tells us, reminds us, rather alerts us about our prime target. Aphorism 2 tells us how to perform that, and aphorism 3 is really the guide where what aphorism 3 says, is important. Each
सर आप
part of aphorism 3,
पावर पॉइंट शेयर कर लीजिए प्लीज, अभी पावर पॉइंट आई नहीं.
each section, each phrase of aphorism 3 is important. Now let us see what aphorism 3 says. Aphorism 3 begins with if. Here this if means only if, then, if not, then not. Means only if we understand this aphorism, follow this aphorism with sincerity, then only we may be declared as the practitioner of healing art. If not, then not. It is a clear thing. If we don't stick to the aphorism 3, if we don't strictly follow aphorism 3, then we cannot tell ourselves to be a practitioner of the healing art. Mostly, this aphorism 3 is taught to the student as qualification of a physician. But I defy. I disagree. Aphorism 3 has not told what should be the qualification. Qualification we are getting from universities. We are getting more and more and more qualifications. Those qualifications have nothing to do with this aphorism 3. Next, even if we say
Sir.
that aphorism, yes?
Sir, please share your PowerPoint.
PowerPoint is on, sir.
No, sir. We are not seeing this.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
मैंने तो स्क्रीन शेयरिंग किया.
नहीं सर, अभी हमारे पास नहीं आया है.
अच्छा, दोबारा करता हूँ.
जी सर.
ये आया?
Yes sir, अब आ गया.
Now it is visible.
जी.
So this aphorism 3 begins with if, and this if is important. We must bear in our mind that this if begins, and we also begin with if. If I do it this way, then only I can get the fruit. If I don't do it this way, I am not sure whether I will get anything. Now, how this aphorism 3 begins? It begins as, if the physician clearly perceives what is to be cured in diseases, that is to say, in every individual case of disease. It is emphasized in italics that it is written knowledge of disease, uske baad a comma hai, there is a comma after, and then it is indication. Now, let us see what these 3 lines indicate. If the physician clearly perceives, the perception should be clear. Clear means clear, transparent, not ambiguous, and we shouldn't, this, our vision, our expression and things should not be prejudiced, Rather, it is wrong to say should not be prejudiced. Better to say it should be free from prejudice. If the physician clearly perceives, clear perception is possible only when we are free from any prejudice. Clear mind. So this clear perception, what does this mean? I like to give 2-3 examples. One from my class, Dr. Sarvadhikar, he was our teacher in medicine, practice of medicine. He was an allopath. He taught us why a baby cries. Why a baby cries. He taught that a baby may cry for many things. There may be many reasons why a baby cries. Even sometimes this baby tells lie, कुछ नक्शाबाजी, कुछ इसके demand, true and false, but that you will have to understand just by the cry. So from cry, you must understand if the baby is hungry, if that baby was bitten by an ant, fast stool, or just wanting its mother to be with him, you must understand it from the cry of the baby. One I tell you from my practice. One fine morning, a man came with a young boy of 8 years old, which was 8 years old. His father told me that this child had been suffering from hypertension. I was just surprised. The boy of 8 years had hypertension. I asked him how he could know. Yes, only yesterday, means only the day before he came to me, he got him checked by a local physician. He told that he has high blood pressure. I told him to see me in clinic where I was going there. So he came. I asked him that how it appeared in your mind. कि आपके दिमाग में ये कैसे आया? How could you know that he is hypertensive? He said, it is not me who guessed it. 2 days before, there was some function in his home. There were few children there together, and they had some fight. This child became red-faced during the fight. A very old man who was sitting nearby, he told mother of this child that, you see, what was his language? ना बच्चे गुस्से में आके लाल होते हैं, लेकिन ये जो लालीपन है ना, ये गुस्से का नहीं है. तू तो इसको कोई डॉक्टर के पास ले जा. तू तो इसको कोई डॉक्टर के पास ले जा, क्योंकि ये जो लालीपन है इसके फेस में, ये गुस्से का लालीपन नहीं है. Next morning, they went to a local physician, local doctor. He also first denied, then he checked and found that he was hypertensive. Then he saw another expert here, an MD doctor. He also saw that he was hypertensive and he prescribed some medicine. He came to me for a second opinion. What should he do? So I told him to talk to his friends, talk to the school teacher, and to the family member. कि ऐसे ही इसके हो जाता है, अभी पहले भी हुआ था क्या, इसके से पूछना. And then I told him not to stop anywhere and to go straight to the PGI. I told him to pack up for 15 days. So he went there. They investigated him and he found to be hypertensive without any specific reason. So they wrote asymptomatic hypertension. So you see how clear was that elderly man, how clear that elderly man was in his mind, how clear was his perception that such redness of the face cannot be from anger only. So he was illiterate, totally illiterate. He was not a physician. He was totally illiterate. I feel sometimes that I might have missed that. Had I been there, I would have missed and misinterpreted. But he clearly interpreted it. This is what is clear perception. So the physician should clearly perceive what is to be cured in disease. A person suffers from disease. This person has number of symptoms, and all symptoms need not be cured. All symptoms need not be cured. One removal of a symptom, others a group of symptoms may go behind that. So we must find what is to be cured in disease. A person is to be cured in disease. চলছে এখনো মোবাইল কিভাবে কে জানে এটা স্ট্যাটাসটা দেখেন তো তুমি যাবেন আচ্ছা হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে so what is to be cured in disease it is all right that we will remove the miasm, we will remove the most distressed symptoms. Again, what is to be cured in disease mean that whether that man needs, first thing, if that man really needs medicine, really needs pharmaceutically prepared medicine, this is the first thing. It is not that whenever a patient comes to a physician, he must prescribe a drug and he must instruct him accordingly, and then no. First thing, if that patient really needs medicine. Now, if the patient needs medicine, which part of the total disease picture is to be covered? Now, it is a bit troublesome. Just on this, we have developed many schools. What should be our approach to the symptom group of the patient? We are not approaching the symptom group of the patient from my own ideas, from my own views. I am not ready to fail. No. What we are doing, we have started developing different approaches, and by that, it made a maze of problems. Which one will be better? Whether to prescribe only on mental symptom, only on physical symptom, and all this. It is best to be left to the physician who does. So he must think that I must try myself without following others, and I must be ready to be failed. And then I will investigate why I failed, and it is one of the mode to develop a confidence so that my patient gets cured. Then, what that is to say, in every individual case of disease, this is important. Every individual case, there cannot be any rule. Removing miasm is a rule. Removing the symptom is a rule, but it is never a rule because every case is other. So we must have sufficient knowledge of disease. Now, with the question of knowledge of disease, we need to write down the diagnosis, and we have a list of diagnoses to be made. There is no harm if I do not write the diagnostic name, but I give the right treatment. But it was earlier. Recently, our Indian government has changed the definition of practice. This commission says that every physician should write the diagnostic name. Every physician should write the diagnostic name. If he cannot write the diagnostic name, how on earth he will treat the patient? Previously, even when we were students, even if I had written nothing in the diagnosis, yet to diagnosed, NOID, not yet diagnosed, would have done, provided that the treatment is given all right. But not now. Now we'll have to write down in sometimes it may write 2-3 names together. Renal failure with hypertension, with diabetes, and with this and many things together. But we'll have to write names. And this indication. Knowledge of indication is very important. What this indication of the disease does to us, what we get from these indications. Actually, it is not the name of the disease, it is the indication of the disease that is the main thing that drives us to help the patient get cured. Indication tells us how to diagnose a patient and all aspects of diagnosis, disease diagnosis, miasmatic diagnosis, then temperamental diagnosis, remedy diagnosis, constitutional diagnosis, and all. Indication of the disease will tell us how to manage the patient. How to manage the patient. Only medicine will not do. Only medicine never does. And many times, a patient may not need medicine and only management. Patient may need placebo. And here, we will have to diagnose placebo as a remedy. Placebo as a remedy. Not placebo as a throwaway supply. All right, I'm failing to understand the thing, so give him placebo. I'm given this medicine, no change, so give him placebo. No, at this juncture, it needs that the placebo should be diagnosed, that the patient needs only placebo and other management. Here, this placebo is a diagnosis, remedy, diagnosed remedy. Now we will see what comes next. I'm just proceeding further. We'll come to this point, knowledge of disease indication next. Therefore, the knowledge of indication is the first and foremost important thing that will direct us our path. Then it is written, if he clearly perceives what is curative in medicines, what is curative in medicines, in each individual medicine. I have arnica. What arnica can cure in this particular patient? Doctor, you have given me the medicine. What I will feel, what I will get, at least an idea I want. कि आप मुझे ये बताइए कि मुझे मेडिसिन लेने के बाद क्या कुछ होगा, क्या कुछ होगा. हमने सुना है कि स्किन डिजीज में होम्योपैथी मेडिसिन लिया जाए तो एग्रेवेशन होगा, पता है, ये तो हमें पता है. हर एक बीमारी एग्रेवेट हो जाता है. So what will happen if I take this medicine? I want to have a glimpse of idea. It is not that everything will say will be there, but no. I want to have a little idea in which symptoms or which group of symptoms or what should I feel after taking the medicine. And a patient has the right to ask for this. So he should clearly perceive what this medicine will particularly do in a particular patient, in particular potency, in particular dose, within a particular time frame. This time frame is not always perfect and is rather never, just it is a guess. But what this medicine will do to a particular patient is important. And this is what is knowledge of medicinal power. How much powerful my medicine is in comparison to the disease that we have already seen, knowledge of disease, in comparison to the disease, and how much this medicine will achieve, whether I am giving it, this medicine, just as a throwaway prescription, or I am confident that this will give this thing to the patient, if not more. We must be very much clear. We should have a very clear perception about this. Once I give you arnica, this arnica will mean for your relief in constipation to see how your stool is formed, or you feel if the pain will be relieved, or your urination will be more, or your itching will be aggravated. So this is what, when he clearly perceives what is curative in medicine in each individual case of medicine. And if he knows how to adapt according to clearly defined principles. Now here is a rider. If he knows how to adapt according to clearly defined principles. Clearly defined principle is similia similibus currenter, and that aphorism 26 is a defined principle. And there is no other principle there. So if this medicine given will be following the clearly defined principles, similar similibus, currenter तो बाद में आएगी, currenter will follow similar similibus. If this medicine is sufficiently strong as to the disease part, disease system is concerned, and it will remove the disease. Because aphorism 26 has another rider, that aphorism 26 actually does not care for anything. Neither the life of the patient, nor the dynamics of the disease, nor the dynamics of the medicine. Any of the three, whichever is stronger, will act upon the other. Any of the three, whichever is stronger, will act upon the other, because all three are different in kind and similar in manifestation. So we must think, if it is clearly following the defined principle, what is curative in medicine to what he has discovered to be undoubtedly morbid in the patient. Every part of the patient is not morbid. We take a patient as a whole. Homeopathy is a holistic medicine. This holistic medicine does not mean that a patient is ill from hair to soul, from skin front to skin back. Not that all these systems are diseased. Every organ is ill. Every cell is ill. No. Even in a moribund case or in a terminal patient, every system, every organ is never ill. is never ill. Some part sufficient to sustain the livelihood, some part sometime some sufficient to support life is there, otherwise we would not have made that patient. मैं किसी पेशेंट को देखने गया very seriously ill, it does not mean that every part of that patient is ill. अगर सारा कुछ ill होता तो उसके साथ मेरा मुलाकात ही नहीं होता, he would have gone. So what is curative in medicine to what he has discovered to be undoubtedly morbid in the patient. Undoubtedly morbid means that person is ill. Person is ill to this extent, not beyond that. At least at that time. At least at that time, the person is not morbid, is not ill beyond a certain limit. Even if the patient has multi-organ failure, no problem. First, we have to consider what is the most morbid part, morbid symptom, and then so that the recovery must ensue. It was not written that the recovery must begin. No. It is ensue. Means the patient has the capability to recover and that process should continue. That process, the ability, the dynamic part of the patient is that a patient has the capacity to recover. So that capacity, it must be enhanced, it must continue. So it is written, recovery must ensue. It is not written that the recovery must begin. No. Recovery must begin means it was not there earlier. The patient had no scope, patient had no dynamic power to recover himself. Because the patient recovers himself, I as a physician do not drag him to recovery. My medicine never drags him to recovery. Disease never does. हम दोनों में से neither me nor my medicine will drag him to recovery. He will recover. I did my part as to selecting a remedy in proper potency, proper dose, properly administered. That medicine will help the dynamicity of the person that has a capability to recover, to enhance the self-preserving power. It is that we are helping that. So, recovery must ensue. It will continue. It is not to begin. Recovery never begins. Recovery continues. To adapt it as well in respect to the suitability of the medicine, most appropriate according to its mode of action to the case before him. It has 3 riders, not 1. In respect to the suitability of the medicine, if the medicine is suitable, we have already selected the medicine. Now, if the medicine is suitable, medicine means the name of the medicine, the preparation of the medicine, the potency of the medicine, and the dose. So, suitability of the medicine, if the medicine would be suitable for this particular case, not that in such cases this medicine acts. No. In cases of fever, belladonna acts. No. We should not think that way. You have, this patient has 103 degree Fahrenheit temperature, put him on belladonna. No. If belladonna is suitable, though I have selected belladonna, even then I will have to give it a second thought that the belladonna is suitable. Even at the last moment, some idea may come up into my mind and the most strenuous time I took 2 hours or half an hour to select a drug may just change. Just change. Therefore, in respect to the suitability of the medicine, most appropriate according to its mode of action of the drug to the case before him. Here it is written, the case before him. This case before him is very important. The particular patient I am attending. Besides that, it implies one more thing, that the case before him is of my concern. The case before me. The case before me is the only concern, not the cases sitting at the waiting hall. No. Only that case which is sitting before me is my case. None at all who are sitting on the waiting hall, who are on the telephone line, who are on some or other connected. No, never, not at all. Only the case before me. And this case before me, it also says, how should I attend a patient? I should attend the patient one and only one. One and only one. I must forget everything except the patient before me. Of course, you can contest that because it is written in question with the connection with remedy selection. But these 3 words, case before him, it has another implication. Until and unless I am fully satisfied with the case, I should not proceed to the next. Case means this patient, regarding the medicine selection of the patient, selecting out the medicine means including management and things. I should not proceed to the next patient. This thing is written nowhere. The case before him, no, nowhere it is written in organum. This case before him means the case just in front of me. I'll attend. I'll be wholly, solely for him and for none else, neither for my family, friends, my officer, income tax department से कोई आ गया, for none. किसी के लिए मैं available नहीं हूँ. Only the case before me, I am available for him. Or once I finish with him, then I am available for all else. Now, choice of the remedy. Therefore, it is not exactly the choice. It is not just the choice. It is the finalization of the remedy. Which remedy? How? When? Everything. The medicine indicated. Medicine indicated mean because of the similar. So, a patient, a particular case record may indicate more than one medicine, and all those will be indicated medicine. All those. It may indicate 10 medicines. No harm. But we'll have to choose one among the rest. There is this phrase saying that a man in the crowd, it will be the medicine in the crowd of medicine, or a medicine chest. And that is possible only when I am fully occupied with the patient sitting in my front. Then only I can be totally free from all prejudiced ideas and things. Nothing should creep up in my mind. As also in respect to the exact mode of preparation and quantity it required. इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम है. Also in respect to the exact mode of preparation, what is the problem with it? Homeopathic pharmacy is the most neglected subject in homeopathic syllabus. Homeopathic syllabus. Students just they commit to memory about the family of the remedy, their class of preparation, and then forget things. A student does not know in which form this medicine is available in the market. No. I have seen many prescribing some potencies which will never be possible to this for the supplier to hand over. Very latest example is someone send a slip for a patient, Calcarea car 3C. It's not available. Calcarea car 3C you cannot get. So, a student must know which medicine will be available in which potency. So, exact mode of preparation and quantity of it required. This quantity has two things. One is the quantity of the medicine that is available, and then another quantity is the amount of medicine in relation to the vehicle. These two things make a proper dose. Now, how the things are, we know that 1C means 1 part medicine and 99 part vehicle. Therefore, 6 potency is 10 to the power minus 12, means 1 part of the medicine, and with 11 zeros vehicle, and we take 1 drop of that, and give it to the patient. This is the quantity of the medicine required. Now, this potency of the medicine, it has recently means in last say 30-35 years, it has suffered a very big blow. All the medicines available in the market, they are labeled as homeopathic dilution. They don't write homeopathic potency. And we are very happy. We never told anyone why they write this homeopathic dilution, why they should not write homeopathic potency. You have medicine probably where you are sitting in your room or your clinic or room attached clinic, you can go and see it is written homeopathic dilution. And this caused a theoretical loss, irreversible loss to homeopathy. Everyone considers that homeopathy is a diluted form of medicine, and they are finding out Avogadro there. They are finding out Avogadro. Before Avogadro, there was no headache. But with Avogadro, we have, because such and such dilution cannot contain any medicine like this. But we have never said that it is a potency, it is not a dilution. Potency does not change. I will discuss it later on. I'm just giving you a touch. Potency does not change if you have add a glass of water in that. So Nux vomica 30, 1 drop in a cup of water will remain Nux vomica 30. A drop of Nux vomica in a glass of water will remain Nux vomica 30. Only that it will be more and more diluted. Therefore, the quantity of the medicine per dose will be reduced. Here you see quantity it required. One quantity was the potency, 30 potency, when the medicine and vehicle had definite ratio. Now, Naxvomika 30, I have diluted in a glass of water, in a cup of water, and given it to the patient. Here, the quantity of the medicine is further reduced, but not the potency changed. Here, the potency does not get changed. So, with dilution of the medicine, the potency never gets changed. To prepare a potency, we need to dilute it first, then need apply vigorous energy to it. That is different thing. That is not dilution. That is a method of preparation. So it is needed exact mode of preparation. We must understand that our exact mode of preparation is this. When we prepare 30 from 29, we dilute it 99 times, but following that, we put extra energy into it, a vigorous succussion that makes it 30. Not that 29 is diluted in 100 drops of water, 100 drops of ethanol, 100 drops of dispensing alcohol, and will make it 30. No, it will only dilute to its 100th part. It will only dilute it to 100th part, but the potency will remain 29. You must ingrain it in your brain. This is very important. It never increases the potency. If you go on serial dilution, this also I will tell you later on. If you go on doing this serial dilution, even then the potency does not change. No. 1 cup, 2 cup, 3 cup, 5 cups, no. There will be no change in potency. And that when I was a student, my sister had an attack of cholera. I gave her, I had arsenic 6, only 2 or 3 globules, put it in the first cup, stirred it. When it dissolved, I put 1 spoon to the second cup, stirred it, and then 1 to the third cup, and then stirred it. Then I told my older sister, to give half spoon every 5 minutes. And she improved in 2 hours time. She started showing improvement in 2 hours time, and in 4 hours she had enough energy to speak. When I saw her, she was speechless and cold, all face white, skin cold and speechless. Then she started speaking, and then she improved. Here, I never increased the potency. It remained the 6 potency, but it was diluted because the vitality of my sister was, in my opinion, was not enough strong as to take the 6 in a large quantity. Means I never dared to give her one full 4 globules directly on her mouth. So I diluted, understanding it that it remained 6 potency, but further diluted, and I gave small quantities so that her vitality could pick up, could respond to the medicine given. If I give that quantity of medicine to which my patient cannot respond, it is my failure. It is not the failure of the patient. I cannot claim that I gave him the right medicine, but his system failed. No. If his system fails, I fail to understand. I go back to I fail to understand that it was not appropriate. It was not appropriate, so my patient failed to respond. We will not agree. We don't want to agree even. But it is that. So the quantity of it required. One quantity is the potency. Second quantity is the dispensing. How would I dispense arsenic 6 to a particular patient? So the case before me, Here it is, to the case before me. The case before me, how the patient would respond and how should I give it, and then only it becomes a proper dose. Then only it becomes a proper dose. And this happens in every system of medicine, that the patient is given the right medicine, patient do not respond and either develops complication or dies. I'm not telling that homeopathic medicine will kill a patient. No, not at all. But not responding to the treatment is my failure. Proper dose. We will discuss about this proper dose later on. I'm just on the text of the aphorism. And the proper period for repeating the dose, time interval. What should be the time interval? Here is also, now there are hitches. There are hitches. There are many difference of opinion, but I must develop my own opinion. I must not copy from anyone else. I must copy it from my mind, from my brain. Proper period for repeating the dose. It means two things. Number one, the interval between two doses. The interval between two doses. And the exact time of assessing the exact time of giving the second dose. Means, if I give first dose, for how much time should I wait to see that the patient is responding? Hahnemann says the second dose should be given only after exhaustion of the effect of the first dose. Then I must calculate it myself, and this calculation will come from knowledge of the disease, its indication, and knowledge of the medicinal power. Then only I will be able to calculate it. And if I can calculate, then only I can repeat the dose. It is not that every medicine is to be given at 1 month interval, or every low potency medicine is to be given every 10 minutes. I have seen prescriptions. Number 1 medicine at 7, number 2 at 8, number 3 at 9, number 4 at 10. He may be a very good practitioner. I don't have any objection against him. Nothing. But it does not conform to the aphorism 3. It never conforms to aphorism 3. Moreover, when the patient is not in a dire need for some acute condition, I have been giving treatment to my patient for some chronic ailment. Now, he fell from his cycle and got injured. He is in dire need of some remedy. Then I am giving some extra medicine to him that has some, at least in working philosophy and working excuse. But I cannot prescribe 7 drugs to be given, each one only. Now, this is I finalized when to repeat this dose. Dose means when the medicine is the same. Medicine is same, potency is same, only the dose is to be repeated. Or medicine, at least medicine, it is one. Again, there is another if. If finally, now you come. If finally, now we have known about this disease, what is to be cured in a case, how my medicines were prepared, in which form they are available in the market, and how should I use the medicine, how should I apply the medicine, and how should I repeat the medicine. All these I have decided. It does not make, all these things never made me complete my job. And then there is something else left. And finally, he knows the obstacles to recovery in each case. He knows the obstacles to recovery in each case, not that in general. There are two types of obstacle. One are general, applicable to all, and then there are particular obstacle to health. First thing I tell you, age is the biggest obstacle to recovery. In the whole of organon, nowhere age is mentioned, because it is altogether philosophy. Age is temporary thing. Age comes and goes, no problem. Age is nowhere mentioned in organon, but age is an obstacle to recovery, and it is a serious obstacle that cannot be overcome, and that is why it is not written in organon. Age can never be overcome. Then there are some meteoric and telluric changes, environmental things and things. These things cannot be changed. Composition of my family, my earning, all these things I cannot change abruptly. These are also obstacle to recovery, but these are general obstructions. Then there are particular obstructions in each individual case. In each individual case. In these particular obstructions, they are also of two types. They are also of two types. One is a group, means all patients suffering from hypertension, they need some precautions. This in group. Rather a family of hypertensive. Family does not mean my blood related or sexually related family. These are all disease family. Then individual. Every hypertensive patient needs some common thing to accept and common thing to reject. Then each individual patient may need some changes. Each individual patient may need some changes. That is to be found out, and this is also very important and is a very fine thing. Means we must know everything about the patient, desires, aversion, approaches, ways of talking, walking, sitting, lying, and everything. He may need to make some changes in that. And it is the responsibility of the physician to direct the patient to make necessary changes. There is a hitch in it. Now, a physician knows only about the disease, not the medicine. So he need the help of a pharmacist. Pharmacist will tell that this medicine acts this way and that way. Then the physician will say. And then he needs a dietitian to tell the patient. The dietitian will tell the patient, you are hypertensive, you are kidney failure patient, this is your diet, this is your diet. But that will be general. That will not be particular. That will not affect the patient in particular. No, not at all. Therefore, a homeopath needs to understand, needs to study, and needs to know, because it is the responsibility of the physician to make the patient understand what the physician expects from a patient. Patient must know what his or her physician wants of him, and this thing the physician must make clear. Obstacle to recovery, I tell you one example. One of my patients was hypertensive, diabetic, suffered hemiplegia, now suffering from chronic renal failure. I told his wife to stop giving him fruits. She argued, अगर हम इनको फ्रूट नहीं देते हैं तो इनको एनर्जी कहाँ से मिलेगी? डॉक्टर मुझे ये बताओ, इनको एनर्जी कहाँ से मिलेगी? ताकत होनी चाहिए, नहीं तो बंदा जीवेगा कि में? Means how will live, how will survive? I told her not to add salt, to limit the salt, then the amount regarding the oil and things. At every point, she had some or other logic. She knew everything from Google search. She knows all the medicines of the homeopathic world. She knew everything about the diet. She knew how much iron, vitamin D, A in apple, how much a man needs. She is highly qualified and she argues with me that I was not correct. It took me enough time in the same sitting. I continued to talk to her where she was wrong and I was correct. Even after that, when the patient reported me back after a week, I inquired. I inquired. Everything I told her last week, I repeated for everything because I keep written records. I keep written records. So when I inquired about their family, told that no, she is not doing this, not doing this, and not doing this. And she had no other way but to surrender. Again, I talked to her at least half an hour or so. Finally, I had to use some harsh words, and then she relented. The patient started improving only after the third week, and it is a big obstacle, and we are very rarely careful about understanding this obstacle to recovery. Every journal you read, the physician has given the medicine and the patient was just cured. I have never seen a patient to be just cured. Give the medicine, go home, sleep. Next morning, the patient says, doctor, I'm first class. This happened only with acute cases. A patient has 104 fever. Yes, next morning he said, I'm all right. It happened in acute conditions, but never in chronic conditions. Never. So, obstacle to recovery in each case, and is aware how to remove them. How to remove is the most difficult thing because we have some desires, some definite aversions, some faith, some beliefs. A patient will ignore the doctor's advice and will follow his Guruji's advice. His Guruji told you do it and he will continue to do that. Even if you obstruct him, he will simply ignore your advice. I am not challenging the religious faith against the scientific faith. No, the word science is the worst word ever created. इस दुनिया में अगर साइंस नाम के वर्ड ना होता तो जीना आसान होता और लोग अच्छे ढंग से जीते. Whatever they get, they understand, they know, they say that science. Anyway, now, and is aware how to remove them so that so that the restoration so that the restoration what may be permanent. May be permanent means may not be permanent. Restoration may be permanent means may not be. May not be. May be permanent. If यहाँ तक पहुंच जाए कोई फिजिशियन he will have he was something. Then he understand how to treat judicially and rationally, and he is a true practitioner of healing art. Maybe तक आ जाए कोई भी तो भी उनको Hahnemann agrees to certify him as a true practitioner of healing art. जबकि Hahnemann ने पहले ही कहा कि भाई ये मे भी नहीं, highest and only mission is to restore the sick to health, to cure. Seek to health to cure. Third में आके the restoration may be because Hahnemann knew it, Hahnemann understood it from his life and from his studies. He was a very serious student, जो कि हम में से कोई भी नहीं, no one. इतनी सारा कुछ करने के बाद आप नहीं कह सकते कि restoration will be permanent. No, restoration may be permanent. Means restoration may not be permanent. That's the thing. It is what the aphorism 3 in just nutshell all about. In nutshell, just all about. Clear?
क्लियर सर, बहुत कुछ तो क्लियर हो गया।
हाँ जी,
बहुत कुछ तो क्लियर हो गया, जो थोड़ा सा रह गया वो शायद कल पूरा करेंगे।
ना इसको मैं ये स्लाइड कंप्लीट कर देता हूँ, अभी
जी
स्लाइड कंप्लीट नहीं हुई।
जी जी सर,
इस
प्लीज।
पे work कर देता हूँ। मुझे पता है आप लोग थक चुके हैं सारा दिन
नहीं
काम
सर,
करके। So, in following slides, we will discuss about the knowledge of disease and indication. This we will discuss in detail about the disease, about the indications, इसके different aspects and things. Then we will discuss about the knowledge of medicinal powers and medicine indicated and the proper dose. And lastly, we will discuss, rather not last, tomorrow we will begin with this. Then he understands how to treat judicially and rationally, and he is a true practitioner of the healing art. ये दोनों में difference and similarity. यहाँ आके मैं slide close करता हूँ. Then he understands how to treat judiciously. मुझे बैठ जाना ही पड़ेगा, सॉरी, यहाँ क्यों रहेगा? Then he understands how to treat judiciously. ये देखिए आप, you have just understood how to treat judicially. आप रास्ते में आके खड़े हो गए हैं कि चलो जी मुझे रास्ता देखिए, judiciously and rationally. यहाँ ये नहीं लिखा कि then he understand how to treat properly. No. Judiciously and rationally. Judicious. We must have satisfied our logic ourselves. At least मेरे पास मैंने जो कुछ काम किया अभी तक, things I did so far, I have my own logic, and that the logic is supported by the very philosophy of medicine. Then only it is judicious. Then only it is judicious that I have my own explanations, and those explanations are supported by the clearly defined principles. Clearly defined principles. मेरी लॉजिक को clearly defined principles ने support किए, so I am judicious. Otherwise not. And rationally. And rationally. Rationally, it has two meanings. One is that the process, the way, the method I adopted was in good faith for the benefit of the patient and not for benefit of me. Monetary benefit के बाद यहाँ नहीं matter. Hahnemann used to charge 500 thalers. Hahnemann जो 500 thalers charge करते थे, consultation fees उनका था 500 thalers. आज के हिसाब से ये लगभग 35,000 रुपये, लगभग 35,000 रुपये. तो हैनीमैन का फीस था उन दिनों में 500 thalers और नथिंग. इधर 500 thalers और नथिंग. पैसा देना है 500 thaler दे जाओ और नहीं देना है फ्री में ले जाओ. This same thing, of course, I never knew whether he gave anyone medicine free, but the way of his life gives an indication that probably he did it like this. But we have an example in India. We have one broad example who would charge highest fees or nothing. He was Mahendralal Sarkar, Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar. In those days, during Mahendralal Sarkar's tenure, lifetime, an European civil surgeon would highest charges was 13 rupees as consultation fee. 13 rupees. So Mahendralal Sarkar, while practicing homeopathy, he used to practice allopathy. His consultation fees was as per an European physician. His fees 232 rupees, even more than double the European doctors used to charge as consultation. They used to charge 13 rupees. Mahendralal Sarkar would charge 32 rupees. Or nothing. You are poor, no problem, need not pay, take medicine free from my clinic. You can pay 32 rupees first, take your appointment, and then I will attend you. 32 रुपये पहले जमा करा के फिर अपॉइंटमेंट लो. ये नहीं कि अपॉइंटमेंट लेके आ गया 32 रुपये जमा कराएंगे. नो, पहले 32 जमा कराओ, अपॉइंटमेंट लो, फिर आओ मेरे पास. It was Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar. So, चलिए हम रैशनली बात कर रहे थे. But rationality will mean that we are practicing, we are giving the medicine, we are attending the patient. I first justify everything given was right. What expects something of the patient, and the patient expects something of the physician. It is a give and take system. The physician patient से कुछ expect करेगा, a patient physician will expect करेगा. This is what the patient expects from the physician, whether he says or not, no matter, but the physician should think about that. जब जस्टिफिकेशन हुआ और पेशेंट के नीड मैंने पूरा कर दिया, so for medical needs are concerned, then I am rational, and then only I am a true practitioner of healing art. I am not a physician. I am not a doctor. करूंगा और प्रैक्टिस के बाद क्या होगा ये नहीं पता. रिजल्ट क्या होगा इज नॉट नोन. फाइनल प्रोग्नोसिस इज नेवर डिस्कस्ड एनीवेयर इन ऑर्गन. नो. मेक योर. कहीं नहीं कहा गया कि ये पेशेंट ठीक हो जाएगा. सो यू आर ऑलरेडी टायर्ड. मैंने आपको बहुत कुछ डिस्टर्ब कर दिया. तो आपने जैसे कहा डॉक्टर दीपक
जी.
हाँ. सो नाउ आई कैन क्लोज माय स्लाइड बिकॉज आई एम. अच्छा एक मिनट नोट किया रहता है. हाँ. And is a true practitioner of healing. And anyway, I will start tomorrow from here because it is a big question. Because itself it is a big question. यहाँ से हम कल शुरू करेंगे. जब आप बोर हो जाएंगे मुझे बता देंगे. ओके.
श्योर सर. थैंक यू सो मच सर. थैंक यू सो मच इतने ब्यूटीफुली एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए. और इसी में बहुत सारी बातें समझ में आ गई, खासकर जब आप बता रहे थे हर एक वर्ड को. इफ से आपने शुरू किया और लास्ट तक, और अभी तो बहुत सारी बातें रह गई हैं. मुझे लगता है जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट है वो है प्रॉपर डोज का, जो हम कल आपसे जरूर सीखेंगे. क्योंकि डोजेज एक ऐसी चीज है, और आपने ये बात बिल्कुल सही कही कि हमारे यहाँ पे जब BHMS में फार्मेसी फर्स्ट ईयर में पढ़ाई जाती है तो मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट, शायद उसमें मैं भी ऐसे ही रहूंगा, कि हम लोगों ने सिर्फ पास होने के लिए फार्मेसी को पढ़ा. हमने प्रिस्क्रिप्शन के लिए फार्मेसी को कभी नहीं पढ़ा है. तो मेरी रिक्वेस्ट है कि सभी लोग फार्मेसी को प्रिस्क्रिप्शन के हिसाब से पढ़िए. ये जानिए कि एक्चुअली पोटेंसीज क्या कहती हैं, कब आपको देनी है, कब आपको रिपीट करनी है, सब कुछ आपके हाथ में है. डॉक्टर हैनीमैन सर सब कुछ लिख करके चले गए थे. सभी कुछ एक एक वर्ड में उन्होंने एक्सप्लेनेशन कर दी. अगर जैसा भी सर ने कल कहा था कि आपको रामायण पढ़ने का आपके अपने विचार कैसे हैं, ये आपके ऊपर निर्धारित करता है. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो अभी और भी सीखनी है सर से. तो हम कल इसी समय 9 बजे आपसे मिलेंगे. सेम लिंक रहेगा, सेम आईडी है, सेम पासवर्ड है. और अभी मैं गुजारिश करता हूँ, हमारे दिल्ली होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल एसोसिएशन के पैटर्न सर डॉक्टर VP सिंह हमारे साथ हैं, तो आपका थैंक्स करें डॉक्टर VP सिंह सर.
डॉक्टर NC चटर्जी, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है आपके इस वेबिनार में. और ये एक्चुअली स्पेशली बेस्ड ऑन द एफोरिज्म नंबर 3. तो एक्चुअली ये तो बहुत ही बहुत लंबा एफोरिज्म है, और बेसिकली सारी होम्योपैथी टोटली बेस्ड ऑन द एफोरिज्म 3. अगर 3 को हम पढ़ लेते, कई चीजें ऐसी होती हैं कि आदमी जो अपना काम चला सकता है बहुत ही बढ़िया तरीके से. बहुत बहुत स्वागत है डॉक्टर साहब आपका. और आपने बहुत ही बड़ी अच्छी तरीके से बताया है. अभी प्रॉपर डोज के बारे में जो हम कल सीखेंगे वो इसका बहुत ही कंक्लूजन रहेगा. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका डॉक्टर साहब.
थैंक यू सर. सब लोग ये भी जानेंगे कि
थैंक यू वेरी मच.
कल सब लोग ये भी जानेंगे कि एक्चुअली फिजिशियन कौन है. हम लोगों में से कितने लोग ऐसे हैं जो एक्चुअल में फिजिशियन कहलाने के हकदार हैं. तो सर हम लोग बहुत बेसब्री से इंतजार करेंगे. मैं तो चाहता था ये कंटिन्यू हो, लेकिन कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि ऑर्गन को पढ़ करके सब लोग थोड़ा बोर हो जाएं और आप जो हमारे कंप्यूटर हैं वो भी कहने लगें कि अब बाय बाय. तो आज के लिए इतना ही. हम लोग सब कल मिलेंगे 9 बजे. सेम आईडी है, सेम लिंक है. फिर भी हम लोग कल शाम को आपको एक बार रिमाइंड कराएंगे, आप लोगों को बताएंगे कि कोई अगर चेंज होगा तो. वरना तो हम लोग 9 बजे यहीं पे मिलेंगे इसी लिंक के साथ. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर. NC चौधरी सर, शुभ रात्रि आप सब लोगों को. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सब लोगों का जो लोग हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. आप लोग जिनमें से भी जो भी दिल्ली होम्योपैथिक मेडिकल एसोसिएशन की मेंबरशिप लेना चाहते हैं तो हमारी वेबसाइट dhma.in पर जाएं. मेंबरशिप के बहुत छोटे से कॉलम्स हैं, आप उनको फिलअप करिए. लेकिन फिर भी हमारे पास बहुत सारे ऐसे मैसेज आ रहे हैं कि उनको व्हाट्सएप पे कोई दिक्कत आ रही है या टेक्निकली आप बहुत अच्छे नहीं हैं, तो आप मुझे सिर्फ 9711153617 पर व्हाट्सएप करें. अपने जो भी डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं, आपका जो रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट है वो, आपकी एक वोटर आईडी कार्ड या आधार कार्ड और अपना एक पासपोर्ट साइज का फोटो, हम आपको एक पेमेंट का लिंक भेजेंगे, आप पेमेंट करिए। आप मेंबर ऐसे भी बन सकते हैं, क्योंकि जो लोग वेबसाइट पे बहुत ज़्यादा अपडेट नहीं है वो लोग हमें अगेन सब चीज़ें व्हाट्सएप पे भेज सकते हैं। थैंक यू सो मच। शुभ रात्रि सभी को।
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Nice to all of you.
थैंक यू सर।
नमस्कार साहब।
थैंक यू सर।
सर नमस्कार।
आपको तो अभी पहले
सर डॉक्टर ललित वर्मा ने फेसबुक पे आपसे आपके हालचाल पूछे हैं। दादा हाउ आर यू?
अच्छा अच्छा,
जी
वो कैसे हैं डॉक्टर साहब?
सर बहुत अच्छे हैं, वो फेसबुक पे थे हमारे साथ और मैं
अच्छा,
उनको रिप्लाई कर दूंगा आपकी तरफ से।
हाँ श्योर श्योर
थैंक यू
श्योर,
सर।
प्लीज कॉन्वे माय बेस्ट रिगार्ड्स टू हिम।
थैंक यू सर।
मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि वो लोग सब ठीक ठाक हैं जान के। एंड
मेरा जो फ़ोन नंबर है लोगों ने पूछा है रिपीट करने के लिए, तो फ़ोन नंबर है 9711153617। इस पे मुझे व्हाट्सएप कर सकते हैं बीएचएमए की मेंबरशिप या किसी भी टाइप की क्वेरी के लिए।
डॉक्टर ललित वर्मा की?
नहीं नहीं सर, जो मेरा फ़ोन नंबर है, कुछ लोगों ने चैट पे क्वेरी करी थी।
अच्छा अच्छा,
जी
आप डॉक्टर ललित वर्मा की बात कर रहे थे ना?
हाँ सर, उन्होंने आपके हालचाल पूछे हैं बस।
हाँ जी हाँ, ठीक है ठीक है, चलो नाइस ऑफ हिम।
सर
बहुत देर हो गया, बहुत साल हो गए उनसे मुलाकात ही नहीं हुई, और
जी
उन्होंने बीमार हो गए थे मैंने सुना, लेकिन मैं ना दिल्ली गया ना कोई बात हुई उनसे, मुलाकात हुआ ना कुछ।
अच्छा, नहीं सर मैं आपका मैसेज पक्का कन्वे करूंगा।
जी जी सर, जी
ठीक है
थैंक
सर,
यू
थैंक
थैंक
यू
यू।
सर, कल मिलते हैं इसी समय।
ठीक है सर, ठीक है,
थैंक यू सर।
ऑल द बेस्ट।
थैंक यू डॉक्टर वीपी सिंह सर।
थैंक यू सर। थैंक यू।